The first pictures now coming in from Puerto Rico after taking a direct hit. Hurricane Maria slamming into the island, and as you heard, one official saying the island is destroyed. Maria is the first Category 4 to hit there in nearly a century. 150-mile-an-hour winds ripping buildings apart, knocking out power everywhere. All of the electricity is out tonight. People ordered to stay inside until at least tomorrow amid fears of more massive flooding to come.
Lending a Hand is a service trip that is organized by Campus Ministry. Our first service trip was in 2004 to New Orleans, Louisiana. And in 2018, we decided to go to Puerto Rico.
If you take a moment to think about your own situation, and we all have different situations, we come from different backgrounds, but the things that you have in your own life or in my own life that I'm fortunate enough to have, and then you can just pause and think about others who are in need because of their life circumstances or the randomness of a hurricane that happened to come across their island. That's what it's about. It's about taking what you have and offering to others. That's our responsibility as a human being in this world. And someday we may need their support as well. So this is a bigger circle that we talk about.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This will serve as the final boarding opportunity for all JetBlue customers traveling on set.
When we heard about the hurricane in Puerto Rico, it was more recent, and we realized that they really do need a lot of help. So we decided that it would be a good idea to see if we could help there in any way, shape, or form that we could. I really did not know what to expect in this trip. I was just kind of just going with the flow, but everything that happened surpassed my expectations. When we got to the hostel, we could tell it was centered in the community. So we were amongst other, Puerto Rican families. So we were in the, community.
I am here for you guys and to experience this with you guys. So I'm really excited.
And I think staying at a hostel made the experience much more surreal because the hostel we actually stayed at was damaged by Hurricane Maria, and just seeing the community around it, like the roads and the lighting that was still not repaired, was just made that experience much more real, and just how much work still needed to be done in Puerto Rico.
Two of the projects were with a community organization called Martin Pina, and they are a federation of communities around the channel between the lake and San Juan, Old San Juan that is, and they are trying to rebuild that area. And instead of displacing homeowners, they are resettling the homeowners.
And the community, Barrio Obrero, with a fideicomiso, that's like a land trust. I don't know if you guys know about that. It's a tool that they use so they can protect their land. And what is supposed to be now, the community is going to decide what we're going to do with the school. We're very grateful for you guys to be here and help us out to rebuild the school.
She's going to go to her car and get some materials that we need for painting, including the rolls and the handles, I believe.
Our projects with the Martin Pina Coalition were painting a community center that involved 3 buildings. So we painted the exterior 2 buildings.
I think the first thing that surprised me was how quick we as a team bonded. I don't know if that had to do with the housing where we were. I knew 6 of the students that went because they were in my program, but there were 20 people on the trip, which meant that I didn't know the remainder of the 13 people very well. But by the end, it was like a friendship, and it's kind of strange that you would think that that would happen in such a short duration of time. It was 5 days, but I think the thing that amazed me the most was a number of things. One was the students, their flexibility, their willingness to serve, their positive attitude. I didn't hear any complaints, and there were things that you potentially could have complained about, but they just did what they needed to do. And with love, genuine interest, you would see them having sidebar conversations with individuals who were either involved with the organizations in which we were helping or with actual people who were using the services that we were in. So taking their opportunity to learn a little bit more. And the people of Puerto Rico as well, so thankful and so, happy. And when you look at the devastation, it would be easy to not be very happy, but they were.
We also worked in the food bank. And what was interesting about this food bank was that it also included a grocery store for those in need.
This trip definitely taught me a lot about helping and giving back. One of the biggest mottos of Devo is never refuse to serve. And I knew that going into it, but actually going and volunteering every day, I realized it doesn't even feel like volunteering when you're having so much fun with everyone. We helped out a lot, but it didn't even feel like volunteering. Like, if your heart and your mindset's in the right place, then it doesn't feel like work.
The most surprising thing about the trip, I think, was the education we got while we were there. A lot of us didn't know the full extent of the issues with the hurricane. Some of the news we're getting here is saying, it's been resolved, things are better, they're fine, they don't need any help, but really going there, you can see how much help they do need still because nobody's giving them the support anymore. A huge thing was mentioned to us that blue tarps are still on roofs because they cannot afford to get a new roof and get things fixed, so that's a huge thing. And still a small portion of the population has power outages a lot more frequently than they should.
I think what surprised me was learning the history of Puerto Rico and just about how the government went about with the locals after the hurricane, and I think the lack of support that they got and A lot of times we see in the media that Puerto Rico is fine. It's been 2 years since the hurricane, and we, honestly, we don't know unless we speak with the locals there. And it was just kind of shocking to know that they're still suffering from the hurricanes, what happened.
I think the most difficult part was listening to people's stories and really trying to put yourself in their shoes. And it was also very difficult to not have that sense of empathy and sympathy towards what they're still going through all this time later.
I think I was surprised by how quickly we all banded together and we all worked towards our goal, even though we didn't really know each other. I thought that was really powerful, and there were some people that I really had no clue who they were. I didn't even know they went to this school. And before the end of the trip, we were really good friends, and we were following each other on social media, talking about our lives, and that was just really awesome.
My favorite part of every service trip is the enthusiasm of the participants and their willingness to give back and go above and beyond in terms of making a difference in whatever agency or whatever environment they find themselves. And their sensitivity to the host community, the experience on the beach where they interacted not only with each other, but those who are also in the waves with kids and others. It's heartwarming.
Service is so important. I think giving back to the community and giving back to others, like I said, helps us be grateful for what we have, and I learned so much.
When I stayed for a couple of days after the trip was over, and I rented a bike for one morning and rode around, and I think it was difficult for me, and it was kind of the after experience of knowing that we did a really good job for 4 days in this place that we went to, but how many more places could we have gone to, and how many more places needed us, either a half a day or a full day or more than that. So the difficulty is having only 4 groups that you help when you know there's so much more help that's needed.
The 4th project was a reforestation project, and we moved small seedlings into a second area where they could grow.
I definitely liked the tree nursery because all the workers there were so funny and they were so nice, and like we had to like wheelbarrow and move stuff and they were so supportive of us. It was so funny. So that was a lot of fun.
It's just a whole other world than Buffalo. You experience so much, you learn so much about each other. You meet people who are outside your program, which like I advocate for all the time. I'm a student ambassador, and I constantly am saying, try to meet people in and out of your program. And then you just feel so good trying to help and volunteer. I mean, I did not realize the need that was needed in Puerto Rico. I didn't realize everything that needed to be rebuilt and the food banks and everything. And just going there was just so eye-opening to think. I take a lot of what I have for granted, and I need to not. I need to be grateful. I need to give back. And so this trip, if anything, was eye-opening, and I feel like everyone should experience some sort of experience like that.
Don't put that in here.